the last session of this conference. Actually, we should start at 7:15, but most of participants are ready for their presentations, so I just immediately started this session. So introduce myself first. My name is Ufuk Bingöl. I'm working as an associate professor in Bandırma Eylül University. I did completed my PhD in labor economics, and I'm working in labor economics and industrial relations department in Bandırma Eylül University, and I'm very happy to be with you. Today, actually, we have 4 presentations. 2 of them belongs to Eva Erdeli and her friends, and also we have one of that is my Master of Science student Bontrabi, and the other one is from Poland, Magdalena Brosowicz and Michel Krowicz from University of Warsaw. So we will start with them. Yes, Magdalena, probably you hear me. I'm giving my words to you. They will present us the money mugs and caricatures anchors on prices of consumer goods only hold hypothetically. I may give you enough time for your presentation.
Okay. Hello everybody. My name is Magdalena Brzozowicz. I'm from University of Warsaw, and now let me share you my screen. I will try to do it now. Is my screen visible for you?
Yes, we can see your presentation clearly.
Okay, so let me start. This project is about experimental and behavioral economics, and as you said before, it's about anchors on prices, anchoring effect, and consumer goods. And this project was supported by the National Science Center from Poland. Let me start by a very short introduction. Many of the research methods commonly used to elicit consumer willingness to pay, which is the maximum price the consumer is willing to pay for something, for good, for service. And many of these research methods involve only hypothetical questions, as we know. It's well known that hypothetical willingness to pay tends to exceed that of actual willingness to pay. But the size of this bias, this hypothetical bias, is not constant across individuals, across circumstances. So, for example, calibration is not the easy fix for this problem. And in our study, we try to verify whether hypothetical data tends to be of the lower quality. We examine one manifestation of this conjecture. We check whether the inclination to follow useless hints like anchoring, like anchors, is attenuate when the reported willingness to pay has real-life financial consequences for participants. And we investigate in this project whether anchoring effect may be lessened when reported values have real consequences. And maybe now I should define what the anchoring effect and hypothetical bias is in details. So hypothetical bias can be defined as a systematic difference between valuation amounts observed in declarative hypothetical situation compared to the actual real willingness to pay with real financial consequences for participants. And anchoring effect is obtained when a irrelevant number, an anchor, is called anchor, is shown to the participants and affects her on or his numeric judgment. For example, estimation, evaluation, forecast, or for example, as in this case, valuation. In this slide, I would like to show you my research hypothesis. So the first one is about hypothetical bias, that hypothetical bias influences the valuation of the good. The second one is about anchoring effect, that the anchoring effect influences the valuation of good. And the most important is the third, that hypothetical bias and the anchoring effect interact. I conducted 3 experiments to verify this hypothesis. In each of experiments, the participants were asked to state their willingness to pay for presented product. I used 4 different treatments in each experiment in 2x2 design. So as you can see in this table, we had a low anchor and high anchor versus in the same time, real transactions or hypothetical valuation. So we have 4 treatments: real low, real transaction low anchor, real transaction high anchor, real hypothetical valuation low anchor, hypothetical valuation high anchor. And in hypothetical condition, the technique of directly eliciting of willingness to pay values was used. So I simply asked my participants the question, what is the maximum price you are willing to pay for this product? And in real condition, we used the incentive compatible BDM technique, in which participants is asked about his willingness to pay value, and then the transaction price is drawn from the box in this case, and if the participants' maximum price, if maybe, and from another side, if the transaction price is higher than participants' maximum price, the transactions are not held. But if the transaction price is lower or equal to the maximum price given by participants, the transactions are executed. So the participants is required to buy this product using their own money. And we also use post-experimental questionnaires covering, for example, socio-demographic characteristics of respondents. Experiment number 1 was paper and pencil laboratory experiment. And 280 participants took part. Participants were asked to state their willingness to pay for voucher for a black and white caricature or portrait. And assignment to real or hypothetical condition was randomized at the session level, and the participants were students of our faculty from the University of Warsaw. And high or low anchor was randomly assigned to each individual within a session. Participants were asked whether they would pay 20 Polish zloty is low anchor, or in another treatment, whether they would pay 80 Polish zloty is high anchor. And BDM procedure was implemented in real sessions. We used BDM procedure, and this procedure was implemented for 3 randomly chosen participants. About 20% of participants it was because of our budget. And the results we can see in the slide. We can see that of course, we found a hypothetical bias. So you can see that willingness to pay values in hypothetical conditions was statistically significantly higher than in a situation with real transaction. It occurs in the box plot and in this table, the same. And I verified these observations using non-parametric Mann-Whitney test, and we can see that in the case of hypothetical bias, the differences between hyper-low, real low are statistically significant. The same is in the pair hypo-high, real high, and also in the case of anchoring effect, we used non-parametric man-Whitney test. So we compared low and high anchor treatments, so low anchor, high anchor in pair with hypothetical evaluation, and the same in pair in with real valuation. So in this pair, the difference between low and high anchor in hypothetical valuation is statistically significant, but the difference in the case of real valuation, real transaction, the difference between a low anchor condition and high anchor condition is not statistically significant. Experiment number 2, this study was field experiment conducted in one of the largest shopping centers in Central Europe, in Westfield Arcade in Warsaw, last summer. And the subject of evaluation was hand-painted ceramic mug, and experiment was conducted at professional prepared stand located in the part of the shopping center with high footfall. And this time samples larger, 786 participants took part in our experiment, and participants were simply consumer shopping center customers. And the low anchor was equal to 10 Polish zloty, and the high anchor, in high anchor condition, participants were asked whether they will pay 60 Polish zloty for the selected mug. We can see the photo from this stand, and the general plan of experiment. The first step is that the shopping center customer approaches the stand, is informed about the basic principles of the experiment. The second step is that participants inspect the evaluated product and get acquainted with the information about the product and the tailored instructions. And the third step is that participants complete evaluation questionnaires and post-experimental questionnaires, and in treatments with real transactions in this step are carried out. And the last step is that the participant takes part in a competition with the possibility of winning a shopping center gift card. In the slide, we can see again results. This time, again, you can see that willingness to pay values in hypothetical situations was higher. Were higher than in a real situation. You can see the same in the box plot. And man-Whitney test confirmed that this difference between hypothetical and real situation was statistically significant. In case of anchoring effect, we again compared low anchor and high anchor, and in hypothetical situation, again, the difference is statistically significant, it's very important, but in case of real situation, the difference is not statistically significant. So we can see that anchor influence our evaluation in hypothetical evaluation situations, but does not influence our evaluation in a situation with a real transaction. And it's also confirmed by permutation ANOVA. You can see that interaction between hypothetical and high anchor was statistically significant, and the same hypothetical bias was statistically significant, and anchoring effect was not statistically significant, and regression analysis confirmed the same, that the interaction between hypothetical bias and anchoring effect was highly significant, while my anchoring effect was not. And the last one, experiment number 3, was also conducted in Westfield Arcade Shopping Center. It was also a field experiment, but it did not overlap with experiment number 2. And design was very, very similar to that of experiment number 2, but the key difference was that the subject evaluation were jars of flavored honey. honey with cocoa, honey with raspberry, and honey with garlic and ginger. And we use the same stand and location as in experiment number 2, and the same anchors: 10 Polish zloty low anchor, 60 Polish zloty high anchor, and about 800 participants took part in this experiment. And finally, results. In this case, again, we can see very, very clear hypothetical bias. The difference between hypothetical valuation and real valuation is statistically significant. And in case of anchoring effect, again, in hypothetical treatments, the difference between low and high anchor is statistically significant, but this time, also in situation with free transaction, the difference is statistically significant, but much weaker in this case. It's 50% versus 14%. And again, we performed permutation ANOVA and regression models, and the interaction between hypothetical bias and anchoring effect was significant in regression models and in our permutation ANOVA, as you can see in this table. And again, the anchoring effect without hypothetical bias was not statistically significant. So to sum up, although our free experiment involved 2 different settings, so we had laboratory experiment and field experiment, and 2 different target population and 3 different products, so vouchers for the caricature portraits, mags and honey, the results were remarkably consistent. We have strongly confirmed hypothesis number 1, hypothetical bias influenced the valuation of presented products. Hypothesis number 2, that predicting that anchoring influenced the valuation of good, was partially confirmed because the effect was only found in hypothetical condition. So anchoring effect influenced willingness to pay only in hypothetical condition. And hypothesis number 3, the most important for us, about interaction, was strongly confirmed. We found that anchors only make a substantial, significant difference in the case of hypothetical data. It was the first experiment, were the first experiments to directly document such interactions. And our results contribute to the discussion examining the mechanism underlying the anchoring effect, the results may suggest that its could be caused by insufficient conscious efforts to drift away from anchor. And also our findings speak out against the validity of hypothetical methods. This is corroborated by our additional observation of the greater prevalence of inconsistent responses in the hypothetical condition. And it's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you, ma'am, for your nice presentation. It's a very interesting issue for me, especially. I'm morely working on an econometric studies. So that was nice. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or contributions regarding to presentation? If yes, or you may write it on the chat side. You may raise your hand, by the way. Probably not for now, but if it comes to your minds, please feel free to write or raise your hands. So from last session, actually, we have listened Tao and Nguyen for measurement of destination attractiveness in wellness tourism of Vietnam. And now we will listen the heritage interpretation and sustainability in Indonesian cultural tourism from Adrina Diva Gaisani, Eva Erdeli, and Andrea Hübner from Hungary. Yes, ma'am. Who will present this study?
Diva will present.
Okay, Eva. So that's your turn, ma'am. So, Eva, you may share your screen. It is your turn right now, or Tao, who I don't know.
Hi,
Yeah.
it's actually me again.
Yeah,
I think last time I presented, I was in the wrong session. So I'm going to present it again, if it's okay.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Taho. You may present it again, and also you may present it briefly or write a presentation. It is totally up to you. We are waiting for you
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. Maybe I will just present it briefly. Okay. I'll have to.
because we also publish the recordings on our YouTube channel. So you may maybe summarize your study. It's okay.
Okay, I'm opening my presentation. I will share my
Okay,
screen
sure.
soon. Okay, great. Mm, okay, my entire screen. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Hi. I will represent my group and present on measurements of destination attractiveness in wellness tourism of Vietnam. And here you can see is that Vietnam is in Southeast Asia and with a lot of potential for wellness tourism. It has 8 UNESCO World Heritage and ranked 32 worldwide on natural and cultural assets. Wellness tourism is still new in the country and it's more investigation on it. So it's very important to examine the demographics of tourists and level of attractions. Tourism market diversification and a growing middle class in Vietnam is very important right now. So we want to focus on domestic tourists on this study. Natural-based destination is chosen because of the diverse natural and rich cultural tourism resources of Vietnam, and the research finding will be useful for tourism stakeholder like destination market for further development in the wellness tourism of Vietnam. Literature review and wellness tourism is actively pursued health enhancing activities that combine wellness and prevention approaches. And beside European countries, past decade, we can also see a lot of development in North America and Asia Pacific. Even though we have a lot of papers on Asia and Southeast Asia, little discussion has been talked about Vietnam on this topic. And what is destination attractiveness? It is the perceived ability of the destination to deliver individual benefits and satisfy the special vacation needs of that person. If we identify this, we can identify the tourist behavior and satisfaction from there. The destination can be more attractive, valuable, and sustainable. The framework that we use is by Hugh and Ritchie in 1993 with six categories: natural, social, historical, recreational and shopping facility, infrastructure, food shelter, and lastly, destination security. The aims of this research is to examine the demographics of tourists and their level of attraction to specific wellness and natural attributes in natural-based destination in Vietnam, and make some practical and sustainable suggestions to develop wellness tourism in Vietnam. The research question is about what wellness and natural attributes in natural-based destination are attractive the most to Vietnamese domestic tourists. The research methodology is a quantitative research and includes an online anonymous questionnaire. The sample size includes 181 Vietnamese in Generation Z, born in 1994 to 2009. It is written in Vietnamese, and then the result got collected and reached conclusions. The demographic shows that most of the participants are worker or student who doesn't working and also working and studying at the same time. Length of the strips show that the majority of them, two-thirds, actually prefer the shorter length, which is 1 to 3 days, and only a third prefer 4 to 7 days of the wellness trip. The average net income per month per person is mostly range from less than $43 to $430. The average amount of money spent per trip per person, including the ticket price, is ranging around $43 to $430 as well. And here you can see the top three types of wellness activities, ranging from spa tourism with hot mineral spring or mud baths to relaxing in mountain Highland Island area, and lastly, sports such as cycling in the forest or mountain climbing. With the results, you can see here the top three at the top five most attractive wellness attributes that important to the average amount of money spent per trip per person are good customer service, affordability, and all the three with a very high percentage. The result and findings, the relationship between average amounts of money spent per trip per person and natural attributes show that landscape, cool, fresh climate, and cluster of mineral swing hot springs are the most attractive. These show the strength of Vietnam tourism and also the potential for future development. The significance between length of wellness trip and natural attributes also show that safe destination for tourists, tranquil rest area, safe, effective private healthcare services, and cultural and historical value are the most attractive to the travelers. Here, the significance between average net income per month per person and the quality of the accommodation and amenities, just like Wi-Fi or the baths, lakes around the destination, shows that in the future, industry player also should focus on the accommodation itself, not just only the wellness related services to enhance the experience of the traveler. And here are some natural-based destination in Vietnam that's most preferred by the participants, such as Sapa with grove fields, Da Nang with its Golden Bridge, Dalat with its fog in the evening, and Phu Quoc with its long coastal line. And here are my future plans. The first one is to have a bigger sample size for our survey, particularly different age group. Second one is to conduct focus group interview or in-depth interview. And the third plan is to make some suggestions, particularly is tourism products, such as typical target group with some special needs like relaxation, safety, landscape, or local cuisines. That's all. Thank you for listening. I make it very short.
Yeah, thank you. Very brief. That was very brief. Thank you very much again, Tao, for your nice presentation. So we will continue with Eva. Eva will present us the heritage interpretation and sustainability in Indonesian cultural tourism. Yeah, that's your turn.
Diva will present us.
Okay,
Please,
Yeah,
okay,
hello.
perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Diva, loud and
Okay.
clearly.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, nice to meet you. I will start to share my screen.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, right now.
Check.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you see the slide now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I will start it. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity here. My name is Ajrina Diva, and I'm from Indonesia. I'm studying in Budapest Business School. So, in this session, I will would like to present my research titled "Heritage Interpretation and Sustainability in Indonesian Cultural Tourism: A Case Study of Borobudur Temple." First of all, I would like to say that one of the proof of how the linkage between tourism and cultural are nowadays becoming more important in the tourism industry, like international tourism. So cultural tourism has huge part in it. And this research aims in Indonesia through a case study of Borobudur Temple, which is one of the most popular and the best cultural tourism in Indonesia. From the heritage interpretation, sustainability point of through indicators to understand the can be done to make it more sustainable. And furthermore, before identify the indicators of sustainable cultural tourism, it is important to know how good the destination being interpreted by the stakeholder. It is believed that interpretation of a destination or a heritage tool to manage tourism or tourists in that area. And the best way to communicate with tourists is with an interpretative style, which it will we talk about today. And Borobudur Temple is a World Heritage Site that the largest Buddhist shrine in the world. Borobudur Temple is also chosen because of its heritage tourism. In this case, heritage is not only refers to building culture like temple, festival, myth, and unique ways of thinking and acting of the locals. Yeah, we can see this is the map location of Borobudur. So it's in Java Island. It's near Jakarta. So tourists will talk about Borobudur Temple management historically based on the secondary research. Since decades ago, Borobudur has a long history of bad management. Since 1990s, academics has concern about the government management of Borobudur. There are also pressure from locals that they didn't get any economic or financial benefit from the tourist attraction as an official government statistic shown on 2006 that Borobudur is the poorest village in Magelang residency. It's sad because it's one of the best cultural heritage, but they are the poorest village in that time. And on 2001, a cultural research management expert says that Borobudur will not be a good place for pilgrimage anymore, since any spiritual experience is militated against by crowds or of the persistent hawkers. And next, we can see in the Trip Advisor, overall score is 4.5. It is quite good. But however, in this part, we will try to set the see that historically these two graphs shows in the past that most of them 2015 and 2017 many bad reviews regarding the experiences, like how bad interpretation they got and prices and like and annoyed by locals and bad cleanliness are mentioned so many times in the reviews. And now, how are the current interpretation of Borobudur Temple by the management? So we divided to two part, which is the positive of this analysis of this positive thing and negative things. And the positive thing is that they explain the history and what is that and why is it worth to visit through their website and Instagram page, and it and they try to attract people first, and they put video and photos, and it's a point for the interpretation that we talk about here, because as any interpretation of destination should aim first to attract tourist attention, and then to inform them, and then to entertain and stimulate them to future exploration. And this part of pages interpreted the destination well enough. However, there are some negative things that mentioned before. The difference of the prices, way more expensive for the foreign tourists. But they don't give fair facilities. Like since the foreigner pay almost 10 times higher than local tourists, and also the language consistency. For example, they put video promotion in the website, but the title is in English, but the video is in Indonesian and there's no subtitle. And also, next, this is one of the example of the review. Someone says that in the conclusion, this is mismanaged at best. Management should certainly go back taste everything because if they continue this way, restaurants won't be visiting this place anymore. This is and then in a word, they say that they only get the landscape so it's because of the price that not including locals. For some people feel they feel forced to buy like souvenirs because the review keeps asking them to take photos together. But in this presentation, we will answer one by one what's good enough because there's many options like pick up services and buses, like pick up services like Uber, if you know something like that. There's so many application now in Indonesia. And then local public safety, it's bad because they feel annoyed by locals, like mentioned before. It's by hawker, and then also conservation of cultural heritage. Heritage use intensity and protection of cultural tradition. It's also bad because in the review they say that many broken parts. And then it's bad because it's too crowded. Some people mention it's too crowded and chaos because of still the hawkers. And then authentic presentation of cultural heritage is also bad because it's the presentation of the culture of the locals. And then culture education also bad because the fees not including to the tour. And the last one is for quality of life in general. It's good enough because from souvenirs and transportation, locals get benefits despite of the give it into part. The first one is for future research, and it will be good if we try to choose their interpretations such as website, language, pricings, local how locals behave, and then guide, and also they need to try to benchmark to other similar cultural destination mentioned by visitor because in the reviews they kind of compare it
I think we have a
example
connect.
in other
Okay.
countries such as Thailand, gift account then give the visitors value rather than only the landscape. Is that okay? I finished my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I hope you can listen it, hear it clearly.
Diva, thank you very much for your presentation. Actually, a little bit
Yeah.
this connection, some for during your presentation, but it's okay for me. Are there any contribution and additional comments regarding to Diva's presentation? I may take it if you have. Probably no. Idrisa, you have question? Idrisa, by the way, my another master student. Idrisa, you hear me? I think no. So, okay, I would like to thank you everyone for their valuable presentations. So, with your presentations, I'm about to close this session and this conference. I wish we could be together in Turkey. I hope it's ongoing in the future conferences together in Bandırma University or any part of Turkey. I wish you all success and safe and healthy days and a happy Sunday. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good evening from greetings from Turkey. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Thank you.